welcome to the Fit and Marriage Show, the #1 straight talk fitness show for busy folks. Today, I'm excited to bring you Kristine Fretwell with busybuthealthy.com. Obviously, here at Fit and Marriage, we love to talk to you busy folks, and what a better person to bring on than Kristine to talk about all the amazing ways that you can make health a priority in your life. Let me tell you a little about Kristine. 7 months after giving birth, she entered her first ever fitness competition. She's going to share with you what she did to get there. She is a registered nutritional product advisor. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's doing all the same things that we're doing. So without further ado, let's join Kristine. Welcome, Kristine, to the Fit Marriage Show. How you doing?
I'm good, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing
Glad
fantastic.
to be here.
Awesome. I'm thankful that you came on. And I wanted to give a little shout out to you and let everybody know how we met. Kristine actually followed me on Twitter. And for all of you who do follow me on Twitter, I actually check out who you are and like your websites and what's going on because I want to know that I'm following people. So she followed me on Twitter and I went to her website, which I introduced earlier, busybutthealthy.com, and got to checking out all that she's doing and just hit her back real quick. And I said, hey, Kristine, you got to come on the Fit Marriage Show. Because she's talking to busy folks. We talk to busy folks. So I had to get her expertise on over here. So enough of me talking. Kristine, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what you got going on?
Okay, well, my name's Kristine, and I recently started the website Busy But Healthy. But my background before that was I've gotten into fitness in the last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, more recently after I had my daughter, she's 2.5 now, and had entered some fitness competitions and did really well with that, and kind of wanted a way to be able to meet to reach more women and more people that are busy, because obviously that's the #1 excuse of why people A, don't eat healthy, and
Mm-hmm.
B, why they don't stay in shape or even get into shape in the first place. So I just wanted a way to reach more people and share a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned over the past few years that have worked for me and worked for my busy lifestyle. And having a background in nutrition, and I've worked with a supplement company for the last 6 years and been in the health industry for about 10 years now. So I've gained a lot of knowledge from that. And obviously in the last couple of years, more of the fitness aspect. So
Okay.
yeah, just people would always ask me kind of, what are you doing? Or, what are you making? What are you eating? What are you eating? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a great way to share that with a lot of people and kind of what a day in the life of Kristine is as a busy mom and how I stay fit and everything. So it's just a really great venue to share with people. So it's been fun.
Awesome. And you're married
And I'm married. Yeah.
and you got a daughter.
Yeah, and our
Yeah.
daughter's 2.5.
Okay.
So my husband and I have been together 10 years, but we've been married for, it'll be 5 years this year.
Good
Yeah,
job
already.
remembering that.
And yeah, I had my daughter in 2008. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been great.
All right, it's ready to peel. Let's peel the onion here because you're very humble in your fitness competitions. But I think what's amazing is that you placed, if I'm correct, right? You placed first
Mhm.
after having your daughter 7 months earlier.
Not technically. Technically, I placed fourth my first
Fourth.
competition
Okay.
when she was 7 months old. And then how many months later was it? May, June, July, August, September, October. And then 6 months later, I won first and then got my pro card, as they call it, which is
Okay.
basically the highest level you can achieve in fitness competitions. So, yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
So you got fourth place though
hmm
after 7 months
yes.
of
And
giving birth.
yeah.
So let's talk about this because that's a huge feat.
Oh,
Uh,
it definitely was. It definitely was.
because I've been married 14 years. I got 2 kids. Um, I can remember the first. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't remember the first year because you're in a daze of having kids,
Yeah.
and all the feedings and the waking up late. So tell us how did you do that? How did you
Okay.
prepare for it?
Yeah. Well,
And not
the
it,
funny thing. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and not just you, I'd like to know how your husband supported you
Hmm.
during that time.
Okay, good question. Well, how it initially started out is my daughter was born in July, and kind of when it rolled around to, I'd say September, October, I started thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to start getting back at the gym and everything, because a lot of people would think, okay, well, she must have just started getting to the gym like weeks after her daughter was born, but that wasn't the case at all. It literally was. I was about four months postpartum before I even stepped foot in the gym.
Okay.
So, as most moms are, after having children, you worry about how your body looks and your self-confidence. And, you hear so many women say, oh, well, I have this body because I've, had children and that's always to blame. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's not going to be me. Even though I was never really super fit before, really at all. Like I was like many women where I would go consistently for a few months and then I'd fall off the wagon for a few months. I mean, I was always kind of into something, but the consistency definitely wasn't there.
Okay.
But I definitely was more determined after I had a baby. And then I actually hooked up with a really great trainer in my area. So this was about 4 months postpartum, and just
Wow.
started working out with her and got on a good nutrition program. And she actually was a figure competitor, so she was a fitness competitor,
Okay.
and she kind of warmed me up to the idea of competing. I actually knew nothing about it at all, and figured that when you equate kind of fitness and bodybuilding competitions, there were just all these huge muscular women and men. And I'm like, oh, that's not for me kind of thing. And I could never be huge and muscular, basically.
And the
So,
ones in the fitness competitions you have gone into are not those kind, because I saw pictures
no,
of. I mean, these are women who are just very
mhm,
toned.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's not over the top in my opinion. I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
the pictures that I was seeing, I mean, gosh, I mean, the women were just super toned as well as yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I hooked up with this trainer and started working with her. I basically just started out kind of doing a session a week with the trainer
Okay.
and then doing the rest on my own. And how it worked kind of at home and at the gym is a lot of it was, my daughter was still breastfeeding and I was still at home. So a lot of it was just squeezing in workouts when I could
At home.
at home. Yep.
Okay.
And also, I started going really early in the gym. And it's funny because, a couple years before that, if someone said to me, oh, in 2 years from now, you're going to be working out at six in the morning, I tell them they were nuts because I was totally not a morning person. But
Okay.
I just made it a priority. And it worked out great because I would just go early in the morning before my husband or my daughter was up. So basically, my husband would get up with her
Okay.
if Sienna got up, and then I'd usually just be home early enough. Sometimes she'd just be getting up, and then
Wow.
if I needed to do a workout with a trainer or whatever, I'd just kind of arrange it with my husband when he was going to be around to either watch her or um, if it was a time where she was maybe at grandparents or something like that. But
Hmm.
majority of the time, it was my husband and I just working out the schedule. And so, yeah, but early mornings seem to work the best. And yeah, and it really just was, 3 to 4 months of really hard work just to get prepped for the competition. And I totally didn't think it was anything that I would be interested in doing or be good at and or have like abs or anything like that. And the trainer said, "No, you'll get there. Trust me." I'm like, "Okay, I'm trusting you. I'm not really sure if this is possible, but it ended up being totally possible. I just totally blew myself away about what I was capable of. Just, you can find motivation in places that you never knew were possible. And it was just a really great, empowering experience. So, but definitely it was the support of my husband because, yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have that partner support to do an endeavor like that. Because my husband actually participates in triathlons, and so
Cool.
I could never really see us doing like something like that right at the same moment. It's like you
Hmm.
really need just the other person there to support you through that time. Um, Especially with the fitness competitions because it's not so much the training's manageable. It's just the diet restriction that you get into at the end where you're really just giving everything on not as much fuel. So that's when you kind of run into a little bit of exhaustion at the end and
Yeah.
right in those last few weeks. So those are key, and it's definitely good to have a strong partner because on low carbs you can get pretty cranky.
All right, well, I got a lot of questions after what you just discussed. So, communication with your husband.
hmm
Uh, how were you doing that? I mean, did you have like once you started getting into this, did you start going, okay, honey, this is what I got planned out. Here's my training program. Are you on board with me? That would be the first thing. And then while you're in there, and obviously he became or he came on board. I don't know if
hmm
he was reluctant or not or what was there. And then once he was on board, what was your communication with him? I mean, obviously you had to have a significant amount of communication with him daily about your training.
Oh, for sure. And basically, yeah, the plan from my trainer, it's all basically laid out,
Okay.
posted on the fridge. So,
Yeah.
he knows kind of basically what I'm eating because my meal plan's right there. So
Okay.
once a week, I'm prepping food. And I mean, he's a healthy eater as well. So there would always be prep food in the fridge. So when it came to meals and things like that, that would always be there. So he knew to go in the fridge and everything was there food wise. And then, yeah, when it came to training, he was always familiar about, we'd have a big calendar that I'd have everything written in, the sessions that I'd have maybe with my trainer.
Hmm.
And, he pretty much knew like every morning the workouts. So if he had to maybe be somewhere early for work, then we just try and arrange it a day or two before, just kind of figure things out a day in advance, just so it isn't the stress the morning of. Whereas he's like, oh, well, didn't I tell you I have to go here? Like everything was
Right.
already determined. So we weren't, having those early morning fights like, well, I'm going to the gym and oh no, well, I said I had to be here. So
Right.
you can't go to the gym. So it was a lot of working those things out in advance just to not have the stress, right? So,
Right. No, no, and that's cool because, and I like what you had. I mean, it was just up there on the
hmm
refrigerator, and
yep.
that makes so much sense because then he can look at it and you guys can discuss it. Obviously, as you're in
hmm
passing. Nice.
The only
Motive.
thing that the only thing that was tough about the whole thing was, I mean, the first one because you don't really know what you're getting into, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't know near the end your energy is going to be completely zapped or anything like that. So it was good, but then I continued after the first one to do another one 3 weeks later because I was already in shape,
Right.
which was kind of a good idea, kind of not a good idea, just because those 3 weeks I was tired. And then I continued to do the third one 6 months later, which by then it was kind of kind of a little bit done by then. But
Yeah.
so going forward, I think I'd stick to like one a year max.
Okay.
Just the three, it's like it starts to get obviously more pressure on the relationship when you're doing something that takes that much dedication a
Hmm.
few times a year, multiple times a year. I know there's some women that do it. I don't know whether if when you have more muscle built up that your prep becomes easier and that you don't have to train as hard or as much. Maybe with more muscular development your body just gets accustomed to it and your prep's quick and whatever. Maybe it's just because it was my first few times, but I don't know. I just find for us as a couple and family wise and sanity wise,
Uh-huh.
for us, it's best to just do those kind of ventures probably more on like a once per year, once every couple year basis, just
Okay.
to keep the balance in the family and it totally be not taking over, our
Right.
entire lives, right? Something that's more manageable and can work into the daily life. So, because it does become quite a consumption just because of the whole diet aspect of it because then you can't participate in certain family functions and obviously functions involve food and all these things and then yeah when you can't have things or whatever then it kind of can just cause not just with my husband but family in general if it's
Okay.
someone's birthday and you go and you can't have the cake people get offended right so not
Yes.
yeah. So not necessarily just with my husband, just family as well. Or they say, "Oh, are you still on that diet? Are you
Right.
still prepping for that show or whatever. So it just, seems to be easier if it's for us if it's, not super, super regular in a year. So
And probably he wants, you said he's a triathlete, so he probably wants to do an event
yeah.
or two as well. So that
Hmm.
allows both of you to get the balance in.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
not time them so it's like at the exact same time. So
Hmm.
if he were to do a triathlon in like the summer, then I probably wouldn't be doing a fitness competition in the same month type thing. So
Yeah.
so he can, because obviously he kicks up his training a lot near the end, and because he does, yeah, like the this year he's doing an Olympics, so
Okay. Yeah.
it's going to be longer than the one that he did. So yeah, so he's then doing a run and a swim potentially in one day. So if he's doing two workouts a day, then you know it just, yeah, you kind of just have to take turns. Yeah.
Another big thing you mentioned was motivation.
Hmm.
And that is huge among people. They they find something that motivates them briefly. It could be for a couple of weeks, it could be for a couple of months, it could be for a year, and then they fall off.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I know for myself when I'm starting to lack motivation, it's usually because I'm just tired. I need to recover. I've been pushing my body too hard, be it
Hmm.
fitness wise or on my bike. Um, and then I got to refine. I gotta find that motivation again. I got to rekindle it.
Yeah.
What did you do during this period of time to keep yourself motivated? Because I gotta think, man, the stressors of just having a newborn
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
itself is. I'm thinking, okay, if you're breastfeeding, you're up every
Yeah.
3 hours roughly, so
Hmm.
to get yourself out of bed.
Yeah.
What were the things you did, and what do you still do today to keep motivated?
Yeah, the things that motivated me back then when I still was, a new mom and lacking on the sleep, the changes to like my body were a huge motivation because I was
Oh,
seeing changes quickly.
yeah.
So I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, like that really is just what kept me going." And I'm a competitive person at heart, so I'd never done anything competitive as that competitive. I mean, I was kind of a competitive dancer growing up. So, yeah, it was just having that end goal. For me, it was just like I was thinking maybe that was something I was missing before is because I just work out and it didn't really seem there was any goal at the end,
Okay.
but it seemed like once I had that goal, then that really just motivated me to get to that and it had a countdown, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was a really big motivator. But when not competing, obviously, when you don't have that goal again, it's just about trying to maintain, the physique that you want and just maintaining your health. So for me, variety is huge for
Okay.
motivation. I don't Some people can stick to the same program for months and months. It's not me. I'll go through spouts of doing classes a lot, like boot camp style classes,
Okay.
kettlebell, things like that. And then I'll say, oh, I'm kind of tired of doing classes. I'm going to just do things on my own at the gym.
Okay.
Or I'll do more of a boot camp focus, or sometimes I'll do more of a like strict weight train focus. Sometimes I'll do spinning, sometimes I'll do yoga, Pilates. Like I just totally switch it up. So
That's
y-
cool.
yeah, it's for
And
me.
that's really
It's
cool to hear because I think a lot of people need to hear that and know that if you're burned out on something, move on. It's okay. You're still staying physically fit
yeah, exactly.
and you're learning actually something new, especially if you go from weight training to Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think of the knowledge base that you're getting over time
Yeah, exactly.
and how you can actually take Pilates back into your weight training and how you can become stronger there when you're ready to get back to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Exactly. So, and it shocks the body too. If you're
Yeah.
doing the same exact exercise day in, day out, your body's just going to get used to it and not really make improvements. It's like you notice when, you're at the gym and you're doing the same routine for a while and you completely switch it up and you actually become sore again. It's like the
Yeah.
exact same thing. It just shocks your muscles and can actually make you have more athletic improvement if you're switching things up. So,
Yeah. No, that's good. Do you and your husband ever do workouts together?
No, we don't. Occasionally in our home gym in our basement,
Yeah.
because we have like a heavy bag, a treadmill, a bench, and some various equipment. So we'll do kind of boot camps down in our basement. So that's the only thing we really do together, because the rest
Okay.
of the time it's the back and forth with Sienna at home. So
Yeah.
we're just doing the switch.
No, and I understand
Yeah,
that.
but
I
it would be
mean,
nice. It would be nice. It would be nice to be able to hit up the gym and do some weights or something together. But yeah, we just never really get the opportunity to do it. But
as she gets
it
older.
would be nice. Yeah, as she gets older, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Let's talk about nutrition.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you want to talk a lot about the nutrition while you were training up for your fitness competition because that may be pretty darn extreme. And maybe you want to briefly just tell us what you did.
Hmm.
I think more importantly, it's like, what do you do now
Hmm.
to, prepare and have nutritious and healthy meals on the table for
Hmm.
yourself and for your family with your
Hmm.
guys' schedule?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what you did during your fitness competition. I mean, uh,
Well, I can give you a brief rundown.
yeah,
I
I mean,
mean, it
I
was,
would just like to hear what you did there because it
yeah,
sounds sort of extreme, especially when you came up to the last 3 weeks. You said,
yeah. Well, I mean, leading up until about 4 weeks out from the competition, it's not too bad. I mean, it's a very gradual process.
okay,
Most prep plans start between 12 and 16 weeks out from the competition, so that's typically like 4 months. And yeah, so for me, it really still has tons of variety, like food wise, for the 16-week to 12-week part. When you get to about 8 weeks out, you might get a few things cut out. So, for example, um, I don't know, maybe a couple condiments. I
okay,
mean, alcohol is usually out throughout the whole process. The the funny thing is people think that it's super strict all the time, but it's actually not. I mean, it's strict 6 days a week, but there was always a cheat day
yeah, okay,
up until about pretty much 4 weeks out for me anyway.
okay,
I mean, obviously, if people have more to lose, then it might be different, but this is just from my experience. I would eat 6 meals a day during the week. So with every meal you're
okay,
having protein, obviously, because
mm-hmm.
you're wanting to keep the muscle, and have carbs with the first few meals, obviously the complex carbs, so your yams and your oatmeal and things like that. And vegetables are pretty much a free thing. You can have those with every meal. A little bit of,
Nonstop.
yeah. If you want to eat bags of spinach, go for
Go for it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. The green vegetables were pretty much, however much you wanted.
yeah.
A little bit of fruit kind of around workouts.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, then 8 weeks out, it would start to get a little bit plainer. And then the 4 week out is when it kind of, you start to do what they call depletion a little bit, where your carbs start to gradually get a little bit lower. And the whole point of that is to basically manipulate your body so when you do bring carbs back in, it goes directly to your muscles and fills up your glycogen stores.
Right.
So basically the last 2 weeks you also start building up your water intake. And basically by 1 week out, you're drinking like 8 liters of water a day, like 7 to 8 liters of water a day. So
Wow.
basically, you're not holding on to any water. Your body's just completely flushing through the water. So then when you get to
You're going to the
comp
bathroom a lot.
yes, you are. You don't want to be too far away from a
Yeah, I was
bathroom.
gonna say, with that much water every day, you better be really close to a bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then and by, 1 week out your carbs are really low because you're just wanting to be able to have carbs on the last day before the show because then they go straight to your muscles and fill them out so
Because
then
your
you can
glycogen,
see your
yeah,
muscle. Yeah.
because your glycogen, you have about, yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying, and that
And
pops, and
then
it pops them.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then the whole thing with the water is that then the day before the show, you generally will cut your water. It's kind of like a UFC fighter, how they cut their water for their weigh-in.
Okay.
So you cut your water in order to get that really just ripped appearance. Because as soon as you cut your water and you've been building up having lots of water, then as soon as you cut it, your body's not going to hold on to any water. So you get that kind of dried out, really ripped kind of look.
Uh,
And that basically, like how a person looks on stage, you can't even, within a couple days, as soon as you get fluids in you again. You're not going to look like that. So a lot of people think that how a person looks on stage is how they can walk around town looking, but it's just not realistic because you're basically dehydrated.
That's cool to
And
know, though. I
yeah.
honestly, I never knew that. What you
hmm
just said. I mean,
and what a lot of people don't know too is the girls that you see like on the cover of Oxygen and stuff, they've gone through the same process.
oh,
So yeah, they're you know, so it's hard. You can't maintain a stage physique year round. Like it's for one, it's not healthy,
yeah. I was
obviously,
gonna
and then
say you'd
two, it's
really not feel good.
yeah, yeah. And but yeah, I mean it's just for the one day obviously and it's just for stage and then that's it and you pretty much go back to your um healthy eating plan. So with all your water.
With all your water. so,
Yeah.
so what's the healthy eating plan in your guys' family?
Well, what it is basically is well, my daughter's kind of a little bit more of a picky eater, but thankfully it's for a little bit more it's for healthier stuff. She eats plain she likes just everything plain. Plain oatmeal every morning, like
Okay.
without a doubt. And for me it's always kind of oatmeal and egg whites. Always have my protein and carbs at breakfast, usually because it's after a workout. And then lunch is usually just like salads and chicken and things like that because
It,
usually I'm on the go.
breakfast is your husband. Excuse me. Is your husband preparing just his own thing?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
breakfast we usually kind of just do our own thing. He's more of like of an omelet and sausage kind of guy, whereas I'm always like like the oatmeal and egg whites and that sort of thing. And then Sienna's always having some of my oatmeal.
no, and we're the
And
same way. Breakfast is sort of, hey,
do your
you do
thing.
your thing.
Yeah,
Elisa
exactly.
will make these awesome power pancakes, or she'll make an oatmeal, like her apple cinnamon oatmeal,
Yep.
and we'll all have that. But I would say 8 times out of 10, it's
hmm
sort of kids are doing their thing, we're doing our thing,
Yeah, totally.
and
Yeah,
then
because we're kind of going in different directions in the morning. Everyone's kind of
yeah,
just doing their own thing. Exactly. And yeah, I love the protein pancakes too. Big fan of
they're
those.
so good.
Yeah.
And
And
then lunch would be because
lunch you were usually like Brent and I are usually separate for
yeah,
lunch because I'm a sales rep, so I'm out on the road. So I usually have my lunch and snacks with me. So that's just usually because I always have prepped chicken in the fridge,
okay.
chicken breasts and roasted veggies. Which I actually been really liking in the winter time, roasted
hmm
veggies versus salad. I'm usually a huge salad person, but the winter time not so much. So it's more just roasted veggies and chicken and stuff.
Is it something just that they're warm or something or
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in
And yeah, you're in
you're in
San Diego.
yeah, I'm in
I'm
San.
in Vancouver.
She's in Vancouver. We had 75-degree weather here today. So
Yeah, yeah. So you can eat salad year round. Yeah, not here. I need a little something warmer.
okay. And
Yeah.
then
And then
what ends up
and
happening for dinner then?
dinner, I usually make dinner. So
Is it planned out beforehand or is it something that you guys just sort of throw together that day? Or you throw
well,
together that day?
I would like to say I'm a meal planner, but really I'm not.
Okay.
And that's the whole basis behind all the recipes on Busy But Healthy is because I can relate to all the other busy people out there where
Yeah.
I don't plan like a week in advance because I know a lot of people do, and that's great. But half the time, I have tried that in the past, but sometimes it comes to the day of what I'm supposed to make, and I'm not in the mood for it. Like, I'm just like, oh,
hmm
I don't really feel like eating that tonight. Or B, it's just like, oh, well, yeah, I just would rather have chicken instead of fish or whatever. So, basically, I kind of usually just decide the night before or the morning of what I'm going to take out of the freezer, basically, and kind of
hmm
just do a quick inventory of what I have in the fridge. And a lot of what I do for dinner sometimes, especially if we both get home and we're hungry and we don't want to wait half an hour for dinner. I do a lot of, like I said, prepping just a plain chicken breast.
Okay.
So dinner turns more into assembly, more so than cooking an entire meal.
hmm
Or I'll do quick things like turkey meatloaf, where you just mix it all in one bowl, put it in a pan, and throw it in the oven for half an hour and it's done, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, everything recipe wise is like 10 ingredients or less and things that you can find. That's a huge thing because a lot of, healthy eating magazines and websites, you see ingredients that aren't exactly readily accessible in grocery stores or
Yeah,
things that
some of
people,
those drive me nuts because you're
yeah.
like, I don't have time to go to 5 different,
Hmm.
specialty shops to make this happen, and
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen. I mean, they're beautiful and they plate beautifully.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen in my house. I mean,
Yeah,
throw
exactly.
down 3 ingredients to 5 ingredients, it's going to
Yeah,
happen, and it's
exactly.
healthy, and it's still healthy, and that's the
Yeah,
key.
for sure. And tastes good too.
Right. And how many recipes do you have on Busy But
Oh
Healthy
my
right now? I mean,
gosh.
I was going through it. You have tons.
Yeah, probably. Well, I do two things. I've got my own recipes that I actually make, take photos and post.
I mean, and they
And then
look
I have,
delicious, everybody. So please,
thanks, thanks.
please go over there and check it out.
Yeah.
You're gonna dig it.
But probably on the website there's over 100 now.
Okay.
And I just started posting pretty much August. So,
Okay.
yeah, I pretty much post a recipe yeah, every couple days. So, a lot of them are recipes that are, I call them family makeovers. So
Okay.
there may be ones that my mom used to make growing up, and I've just created a healthy, easier version of. So it's kind of a combination of both. Some are just like really super quick and easy dinners and lunches,
Okay.
breakfast ideas. I mean, there's still so many people out there that have never had a higher protein pancake or
Mm-hmm.
um, used like protein powder in a recipe or things like that. So it's a lot of stuff like that that people can take as quick snacks, like higher protein muffins that are, maybe sweetened with stevia versus,
White
you know,
sugar.
white sugar.
Yeah.
And they're things you can feel good about, giving to your kids as a snack because they don't have the sugar and then they are made with whole grain flours and they're just a heck of a lot healthier than 100-calorie packs of cookies, right? So,
Right.
and they
No,
have the
no.
protein in them because I'm a big believer that I find it's worked for me. Just I do better on a little bit higher protein. Um, I just find it stabilizes blood sugar and keeps
Yeah.
me more satisfied because I find with me if I go too crazy on the carbs, I just want more carbs, more carbs, more carbs. It's just like a vicious cycle. So if I'm having some protein in every meal, even if it's just a muffin that I make with has a little bit of protein powder in there. I just find it so much more satisfying than just having a carb-filled, sugar-filled, regular low-fat muffin, right? So,
Right. No, I totally agree with you on the protein, and we've actually increased our protein a lot over the last, gosh, I want to say 6 months, because we
hmm
just came to the realization that, man, we were in that carb cycle that you're talking about. It's like
hmm
you're always trying to shove food in your mouth because you're
hmm
burning it so fast. And for those of you who start getting into fitness and you're feeling good, you're going to know the feeling we're talking about, or you know it because you're doing it right now. And unless you add that protein, you just never feel like you're just satisfied.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
we do these awesome protein smoothies, and it'll
hmm
have like 24 grams of protein,
hmm
and man, that will hold me over for a couple of good hours,
Yeah, exactly.
which
And
is
a lot of
key.
people think when they think high protein, they think like steak and things like that. I mean,
Hmm.
it can be whey protein, it could be plant-based protein. It doesn't need to be like red meat or
Hmm.
anything like that,
And the
right?
plant
So,
based, you're talking the hemp, is that
yeah, I mean, there's tons of good varieties out there. Like, I think you guys have Vega in the States. They've got some really good kind of plant-based proteins.
okay?
But yeah, there's brown rice protein, there's hemp protein, there's soy protein, there's, lots of different kinds of
Okay.
protein. And a lot of people just usually kind of discount it, right? But
Right.
I personally am more of a fan of the whey just because I like the taste of it probably the best over all the ones, but for people that have like a severe like dairy allergy or whatever, maybe can't have whey, but most people can definitely benefit from bringing it into their diet for sure. And yeah, like you said, I'm a huge fan of smoothies as well. I usually have one once a day, and my
Yeah.
daughter just loves them too. Just throw
Hmm.
some fruit and berries in there and good to go because she doesn't really eat meat, so it's a good way to get protein into her. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And for
good.
those of you who are looking for protein, the only thing I'd say, and I think you'd agree too, is make sure it's not just blasted with a bunch of sugar.
Exactly.
Because you will
Yeah.
find some that just have way too much sugar in it. You don't need sugar in your protein.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
there's no need for it. So that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. But I'd love for you to just talk real quickly to moms again,
hmm
especially those who they've had their kid and they're just struggling. I mean, what's something that you would tell a mom? Like if you're walking down the street or you're taking Sienna to daycare and you come across a mom and she's like, I'm struggling with fitness. What do you
hmm
usually tell
Well, I would just tell them that sometimes they think it's a lot more overwhelming than what it is. They think they have the all or nothing approach. A lot of moms I find where they feel like it's only worth it if they can do it 5 days a week or 6 days a week or just like be doing it every single day. But really, it doesn't necessarily mean need to be like that. I mean, most people that get into fitness, it ends up kind of going that route just because obviously, as you know, there's the adrenaline rush that you get from it and it
them?
starts to get addicting, right? But for
Yeah.
someone just starting out, it's basically doing what you can with the time that you have. And for a lot of moms too, they're really scared of weight training because they think they're going to get huge for one, and they just stick to the you know treadmill machines and whatever at the gym and not really getting changes with their body, and so they end up just giving up. But a lot of them I just encourage to um, start doing some weights. I mean, you don't have to do a 5 day a week split, or anything like that. But just even a lot of combo exercises, which are becoming huge, like the interval training and the using compound exercises with weights, like doing a squat with a press, and how that also burns a lot of calories too. So doing those type of exercises that you can really like build up your heart rate and burn a lot of calories in a short amount of time. So, even if you only have 20 minutes a few times a week, you're still better off doing that than doing nothing. And then, once they can start seeing the results with that and get on a good nutrition program, because I'm a huge believer that diet's 80%. So,
Mm-hmm.
at least.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yep,
yeah.
we hear it all the time. Yep, been
Yeah.
on your. We have a great program called Thrive 90, and we'll have people that've been on it for 4 weeks, and they're going, "Well, we haven't seen any difference." And well, did you open up the nutrition ebook? Well, yeah, I glanced over it. You know what? Don't glance over it. Read it.
Yeah.
Because once you look at your nutrition, I'm sure you'll figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
And usually a couple weeks later, they'll come back and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, great
Exactly.
point."
Yeah. So yeah, so I think for a lot of moms, it's just being able to make the time for themselves, and that's the hugest thing because a
Yeah,
lot of women, especially moms, feel guilty, taking a little bit of time away from the kids and husband to do something for themselves. And I mean, you can't really think about it like that. You got to be in control of your own health and, take control of your life. And obviously, you know that you're going to feel better when you're doing it. So you just need to make that time and not feel guilty about it and just do it, because in the end, you'll be a much happier mom, a healthier mom, and you'll just be more there when you are with your kids and your family and your husband, because, you're just going to be happier and healthier, right? So it's
yeah,
worth it in the end for sure.
awesome. Wow, Christine, this has been great. We've gone longer than I thought. I just looked up. So, um, tell everybody though about busybuthealthy.com. Tell them what they can find there, and areas where they can connect with you and stuff.
Okay. Well, Busy But Healthy just actually finished its first season in January. So,
Cool,
um,
yay.
yeah, first season. And it runs kind of similar to traditional TV episodes, even though they're webisodes, obviously. So there were 13 episodes in season one. And then there were also fitness tip videos and Q&A videos. So we're taking like a 13-week hiatus. And then we're
Okay,
going to be gearing up for season two starting on April 4th.
okay,
So they'll be able to find new recipe videos are going to be posted, new quick fitness tips, and that's the whole thing because I want it to be accessible to busy people. And I know obviously some people will, you know, try and find fitness information, and it ends up being like, really long articles and things like that. But I'm just quick to the point, and so the fitness tips are no longer than a minute, and then the Q&As are
Cool.
just Q&As that get written in from directly to me through email, through my Twitter accounts, and through the Facebook pages. And yeah, so there's just a lot of great recipes. Like I said, there's over 100 recipes on the site now, and they're all categorized so people can just go and search. And then they can just look through the different videos, and they're all also available on podcasts.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
so they're
you have iTunes? Is it up on iTunes?
it's up on iTunes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So people can subscribe to the podcasts and listen to all the videos there if they do that. And yeah, so there's going to be some great new recipes coming out, and actually, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm going to be working with one of the largest stevia companies here in Canada, who's actually going to be distributing into the US soon as well. So I'm going to be working with them and getting the word out on the benefits of stevia. So I'm going to be
Cool.
doing a little bit of that for the next season. And yeah, so just lots of exciting stuff. And it's funny because, yeah, I was having some site issues, and it wasn't actually really getting indexed from Google until recently. And then all of a sudden, the traffic's totally taken off. So yeah, the last just month alone has been great. And I'm
Sweet.
sure, as you know, when a site first comes out, there's all these tweaks and things that need to be made. So there's a few more tweaks that are going to be done just to make it even more user friendly. But yeah, people have come back to me on the Facebook pages and been saying, "Oh, I've tried this recipe, and thank you. And I've already, I've been following some of your recipes, and I've already lost 7 pounds." And yeah, so some really great feedback already.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm a Twitterholic and a Facebookaholic, so people can always contact me on there. On Facebook, I've got two pages. One's kind of health and fitness directed, and then the other one's the recipe club. And
Oh,
then yeah,
okay.
so I've got a couple. So if it kind of just depends on what people are interested in, whether it's just strictly recipes or whether it's more health and fitness information. So I've got that. And then Twitter, my Twitter handle is at Kristine Fretwell, one L. I couldn't fit two L's for some reason, but yeah, so I'm on there all the time, so people can ask me direct questions, and I always answer back. So I believe, about being interactive, not
Yeah.
just yeah, not just
Well, it's really
not.
cool. I mean, we found each other. Obviously, I opened it up.
Mhm.
We found each other on Twitter, and
Yeah.
I think it was last night. Yeah, last night we had a cool crock pot barbecue, and you'd asked what people were eating, and I was just like, "Yep, this is what
Yeah.
we're eating."
Yeah,
So
exactly. It sounded great.
it is. The video will come out tomorrow,
Oh, nice.
and for all of you who are watching or listening, it means it's coming out. Just go to the website; you'll find it. It's called crock pot chicken. So 3 ingredients, easy. So,
Yeah.
well, awesome, Kristine, for taking time to share all your fitness and nutrition. Gosh, the recipes, how you place in your fitness competitions. This has all been great, and I just wanted to thank you for joining me here on the Fit Marriage Show.
No, it's been no problem. Thanks for having me. I think it's great what you're doing, and I think you're going to be really successful at it.
Well, thanks a lot, and have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
What an amazing show we had there, an interview with Kristine. I hope you got a lot out of that show. She's an amazing lady doing some amazing stuff. And I hope that you can use all of her motivation, her workouts, her nutritional tips, and put them to use in your own life. If you want to learn more about Kristine, go visit her at busybuthealthy.com. If you're here and you're watching, she has a load of recipes that you can use every day in your own family. So take a look, learn more about Kristine, get a hold of her, and we'd love to hear your comments. So whatever you got to say, whatever's on your mind, put it below. Hope you have a fantastic day.